What's going on, guys? This is Kaishra. Welcome back. So for our video today, we're going to cover a budget competitive deck. So this deck only costs $50 or $53 to be specific on Philippines peso. It is only 3,000 below, 2,800 pesos to be specific as well. So this is a very budget deck that you can play on this current meta game, and I have built this deck for my colleagues that looks for decks that they can use on a very strict budget, because as we all know, Philippines is a third world country. Many players doesn't have the resources to pay and buy OCG cards here on this country. So this video is for them, for those duelists that wants to compete on official tournaments with a very slim and tight budget. So yeah, the price indications of those cards here, of these cards here, are based around UUT on Japan price basis. So the cards here are from UUT basis, and also the cards here are also assumed on the lowest rarity and price as possible as per the UUT site. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So as we all know, this is a Metabeat deck, and I'm not running extra deck as well because this is only a budget deck, and also there's a reason why I'm not playing extra deck on this. So let's get started. At first, our starters here, we have Inspector Border. So this is the most vital card on this list. It is used to stun your opponent. It can also beat down your opponent, and this is the best card on this list. Metabeat won't be Metabeat if you don't have Border on this list. So yeah, we have Inspector Border at 3 copies. And the next we have 3 Fairy Tail Luna. So the reason why I opted to run Luna instead of Ryo, even though Ryo stuns more than Luna, I do feel like that this deck are losing on card advantages. I want to have cards that can elevate the card advantages of this deck, because it is a pretty slow deck, to be honest, and you are not gaining card advantages like any meta decks here on the format. That's why I opted to run Luna, just for the cost that I'm going to add the second copy of Luna to have follow-ups on my next turn, and to interrupt your opponent, my opponent as well, using the bounce of this card. So yeah, I think this is a better option than Ryo on this list. And the next we have 2 Light Barrier Statue. Works the same function as the Inspector Border, to stun your opponent using Border on this list. And I do feel like that Light Attribute is the least summoned attribute right now in the format, except for Purely and Dragon League that has like monsters. Many meta relevant decks are not running like monsters any at all on this format. That's why I opted this as the best barrier statue right now to play on this format, and it is also budget friendly as well. So yeah, I run 2 copies of Light Barrier Statue. And the next we have 2 Dimension Shifter. This is your only hand trap and going second card on this list, because I feel like resolving Dimension Shifter are very insane on the current format. You have decks like Purely and Sinful Spoils deck and Tearlaments and Earth Good Stuff that are relying on graveyard shenanigans. That's why Shifter is very good to stop those decks, because if you don't have a card to stop those decks, you will be overwhelmed by their sheer power, and yeah, you will lose the game from there. That's why running to Shifter is very essential against these very relevant meta decks right now in the format. So yeah, moving on, this is the reason why I don't have extra deck. I'm running Anchamoufrite. This is also to bolster the draw power and consistency of the deck. It is like you're running 37 cards only on this list, and also can be a very good body on the field to beat down your opponent on the later stages. That's why I opted to run Anchamoufrite, and also I don't have the budget to play Card of Demise on this list because this is only a budget deck. So yeah, I'm opting to play Anchamoufrite instead of Card of Demise for my draw power here. And then next we have Time Tearing. time rendering Morganite. I forgot the name. So Morganite is very essential here. You want to have your extra normal summons here, and you want to have your draw 2 on the later stages of the game, because this deck, I have said earlier, is really slow. So you want to make out for it and gain your card advantages on the later stages if you are successful on stunning your opponent from the first turns. So yeah, I think Morganite is very essential here. And then moving on, we have Pot of Duality. Also draw your draw power on this list. It can be very substantial because you want to have cards that can dig for Border and Luna on this list. You need to have monsters on your field, to be honest, to be able to do something on this list. So that's why pot cards and draw power cards are very essential on this list. And then next, moving on, we have two Pot of Desires, draw power as well, and consistency card. And then moving on, for the trap cards, we have triple Solemn Judgment. I do think it is also essential to run Judgment on this list in order to protect your board from being blown out by Feather Duster and Lightning Storm and evenly match. And yeah, I think Judgment can be very good meta call card on the format because you want to stop the normal summons of Purely and even Rescue Ace. So yeah, I think Judgment is very essential here on this deck list. And then moving on, we have another Solemns. We have 3 copies of Solemn Strike. I do think that Solemn Strike answers a lot of variety decks on the format, up to the meta-relevant decks like Purely. You can stop them from playing the game using Solemn Strike, up to the very tier 3 into roguish decks like Vanquish Soul. They tend to struggle against Solemn Strike. So for the variety and what they call this versatility of this card, I have included Solemn Strike over Solemn Warning due to that factors alone. And then moving on, we have 3 compulsory. You want to stop your opponent from beating down your cards like Border and Barrier Statue. That's why I opted to run compulsory to stop them from beating down your monsters, and also as a form of interruption as well. And then next, we have Ring of Destruction. Works the same manner as compulsory to stop your opponent from beating down your Barrier Statue and Border and Luna. And also, I do feel like that this deck lacks firepower or damage output. That's why I opted Ring of Destruction to just have alternate card to damage your opponent, because the attacks of your monsters are only 2k below. So you are really looking for damage to finish your opponent. That's why I opted this card. And then next, we have Mirror Force. Many players don't anticipate this card any at all. Only Metabeat decks are playing Mirror Force on this date. So yeah, I think it's a very surprising card to surprise your opponent. And the next, for the Floodgates, we have Goes in Match. I think Goes in Match is very good here. We are only running light monsters, and it can really stun a lot of decks right now in the format, and also can be very good on a going second basis when your opponent doesn't have answers to out Goes in Match or negates to stop this Goes in Match. So yeah, the reason why I am playing Floodgates over powerful trap cards here on this list is because I want to have cards that can do something when going second on a very strong board opposition. That's why I opted Goes in Match on this list. And the next, we have There Can Be Only One. So There Can Be Only One as well can definitely stun like Goes in Match. And also, many decks are struggling around There Can Be Only One right now, like Purely and Rescue Ace. So yeah, I think this is also a very good Floodgate to sit around on this deck list, and can also be good on going second. Only Sky Striker and Vanquish Soul are really doing something against There Can Be Only One right now. But yeah, nonetheless, this is a very insane card. And then Macrocosmos, last but not the least, these 2 cards are very good on stopping graveyard shenanigans on the format. You have things like Tearlaments, Sinful Spoils, and Adamancipator Earth Good Stuff, and then even Dragon Link, and Sprite Tri Brigade. Those are very meta-relevant decks on the format. So Macrocosmos can definitely shut them down on this list. So 40 card main deck, short and concise. I think this good cards and ratios here for a very budget deck. And then moving on towards our side deck, we have 2 Lava Golem. 2 Lava Golem, I think this is your only card that can save you here from very heavy combo decks like Super Heavy Samurai and Adamantipator Art Good Stuff and Vanadium. So yeah, I think Lava Golem should be here just to answer those decks, and the rest Sphere Mode are kinda expensive here. That's why I didn't included that. But if you're looking for upgrade, it's also nice to run Spear Mode over Lava Golem here. I'm not worrying about the 3k attack of this Lava Golem because I do have Ring of Destruction and Compulsory to bounce this Lava Golem on that moment. And then next we have our Kaijus here. We have the Light and Gadarla and Gamma Seal. 3 copies of different Kaijus. Also good on dealing against Purely and other negation heavy type of decks like Dragon Link. So yeah, triple Kaijus here for good going second cards as well. Because we don't have money to buy XYZ Encore to answer Purely. That's why we just catered our side deck to play Kaijus to answer Purely. And then next we have Necro Valley, a very good card as well to stop the graveyard shenanigans on the format. Necro Valley can definitely stun 3 Elements and Sprite Tri Brigade and Dragon Link. All those graveyard decks that are relevant right now are going to struggle against Necro Valley. So an additional floodgate as well on your disposal. And Harpy's Feather Duster as well. We need to respect back row. Like other players are crazy enough to run Royal Decree to stun us. So yeah, Duster can be clutch on certain equations. And then you're going second cards here. Evenly Match. I think Evenly Match can be very substantial on dealing against control decks like Labyrinth and Runic. That's why I respect them enough. Even though Evenly Match is kinda expensive on this list, I have opted to run Evenly Match because this deck are already struggling when going second. That's why you need to have good cards on dealing against boards that are established when you're going second. And then for your going first cards as well, more floodgates, summon limit, very insane on the format. Many players are really not respecting summon limit enough. So summon limit have their time on the Japan Championship. Many players on the top 8 are running summon limit on Purely. That's why I opted summon limit as well on this list. And last but not the least, Dark Bribe to protect your board. And yeah, that sums up our Metabeat, budget Metabeat video. So I will put the price basis and breakdown on the description of this video. So thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you are not yet subscribed on my channel, and hit the like button if you like this kind of content. So see you on the next one. Peace.